So a year ago I made a video titled Why I Could Never Date a Cosplayer, where it was my first attempt at articulating this visceral reaction I had to seeing a woman be a incredibly lewd cosplayer and then selling her images on Patreon and now, from what I can tell, OnlyFans as well. Actually, I think the OnlyFans is free. We'll come back to that later. It was me attempting to articulate why I would not wish to engage in an intimate or sexual relationship with a woman of such caliber. And I will first admit that there are a couple of things I gotta clean up about this video due to its reaction. A couple of things that don't seem to have been clear. And that is the fact that I was playing quite the character. I was being incredibly outlandish, which I thought was clear to see, not just simply from all my video catalog, but also based on how incredibly thirsty I was being. Of course, there are commenters who picked up on that, but there was also a really good point to it as well that it was a little bit of a meta point that I will again cover in a moment. But the video's portrayal and performance in general is kind of just that, quite the performance, and it annoys me a little bit that I have to explain that I was acting, that I have to explain that most of the video is outlandish on purpose. A lot of the commenters who found the video, which by the way, the lady in question, which really wasn't even, I'd used her image mostly, but it really wasn't about her in particular. She just kind of was the focal point that no, she was more the inspiration, but I wasn't really directly commenting about her in particular, but just kind of the nature of these relationships in general, and just kind of using her as an image to just kind of show you guys what she does and how she bees. But it wasn't really about her specifically. In fact, what was I after I made this video, I didn't even think about it over the whole course of a year. The video performed pretty mediocrely, I would say. So it is kind of funny to me how they kind of found it again after a year. But my point was it was a performance, like, and I think that I could have done the video a little bit better if I wasn't trying to perform, as and be as outlandish as I was. But the video also is a little bit poor because, as I said in the video, it was my first attempt at trying to kind of articulate these thoughts, and I didn't really have good amounts of arguments as I have now, like a year later. So the video isn't the best, but at the same time, I didn't think too hard about it because, like I said, it's just thoughts. It was just me musing, and what I was trying to be in a really humorous and outlandish way. I was really trying to be outlandish and make you guys laugh. It was my main purpose. But unfortunately, the people who found the video, they can't really see how much of a performance it was. They can't see. They just kind of get the worst interpretation of me, which is unfortunate, but it is my fault and I accept that. But the point is, the video Why I Could Never Date a Cosplayer, I still hold the opinion that I wouldn't date a cosplayer. I wouldn't date a woman that does OnlyFans. I wouldn't date any woman of this caliber. And I think what kind of bothers me about the responses I've had from these people is the fact that they only prey on my perceived insecurity. And you'll see in a lot of these different comments, it's just, I'm a virgin, I'm just an incel, I'm just insecure. He goes, the logical reason you're looking for is you're insecure. But it's like, okay guys, but here's the thing. Why should I want to date a woman that does this? And none of them address that. None of them actually have anything of merit to say. None of them, even the woman herself, she just says, me and my legal team. Like, there's no explanation. There's no attempt to engage. None of that. And I guess, again, maybe it's my fault. And if it is my fault for being so inflammatory, I accept that. But what I don't accept is the lack of an attempt to actually engage authentically with me. And that's why I don't like these people. This is one of the best showcases why I can't stand liberals. I can't stand people of this caliber, because they see perceived weakness and they attack it with such cruelty that I fail to understand how they can be so self-righteous. Now, imagine if I actually was an individual who was so incredibly, I guess, insecure, as they would say. What exactly is the accomplishment here? The accomplishment is you're going to browbeat me into accepting a relationship with a woman that has OnlyFans? You want to browbeat me into accepting a relationship with a woman? I mean, what does that not sound like pressure to you guys? Aren't you guys the same caliber of individuals who believe that you shouldn't pressure women into having sex? But it's okay to pressure me into accepting all these different type of relationships I don't want with a woman? Now, another thing I kind of wanted to comment upon are all of the incel accusations, because this is a really interesting one to me, because it really seems to me that incels really lost the plot. First of all, it was always a stupid word, but I think this kind of really consolidates to me that people just used the word to just mean you have a negative opinion about something a woman did, rather than you actually can't date a woman or like be with a woman. Because here's the thing, guys. Let's play this one out logically now, shall we? If the video is why I would not date a woman, then that would mean that it is a choice and decision that I am making, which means it's not involuntary. Idiot. It's like with like a pure, like, there's not much even more explanation required from that one logically. Game, set, match. It's a choice. I don't want to date women like this. And I think that kind of bothers me a lot, because, well, what bothers me is the fact that I'm not allowed to not want women like this. I'm not allowed to not want to date women of this caliber. But I've always said that if you think that it's okay to not date someone because they're too short, then it should be okay for me to not want to date a woman. I actually made that comment. I think it's one of the pinned comments I made. Yeah, it is. I said, if you can't date men who are too short, I can't date women that dress up like anime and video game characters and sell pictures of their butt on the internet. And I don't want to do it. It's not for me. And I don't think that I'm wrong for that. Again, if we can reject people for being shallow, then we should be able to reject people when their decisions are actually affecting the relationship. It just, to me, just seems pretty clear. I don't really think there's much more of an explanation required on that front. Now, the boyfriend of this one girl actually made a stream of him watching my video. I haven't watched his reaction. I don't really know what he said. But of course, that's probably part of what brought the flack here. But there's a couple of things I wanted to comment on, and that is, there is, again, the first chunk of the video is the explanation, because I usually always explain how things get to a point when I make a new video, or how I got to started thinking about this stuff. And so, of course, in that introduction, if you guys didn't watch it, you don't remember it, it was pretty inflammatory. It was pretty raw, one would say, where I was pretty clearly talking about how sexually attractive this girl is. But I actually do think that despite my clownish performance, which is what it was, and I will kind of pause here to say this, that it does seem very strange to me that people don't kind of understand clowns are supposed to be ridiculous. They're supposed to be outlandish. The image of a clown has kind of folded in on itself, and now you'll find more scary pictures of clowns than like funny and happy ones, but they're supposed to be jovial and invoke something ridiculous. Commenting on the performance of a clown and saying that it's weird or cringe, it kind of misses the point so much so. It's But it's not only just that, it's the fact that, again, what I was doing was a performance. I do think that what I was doing was very important, so far as this is the culture, or this is the audience that this woman has to generate. That the generation of her wealth, the generation of her money, of her job, is taking thirsty people, so to say, or desperate people who want women's affection and attention, and giving them money in exchange for that. That's what this is. Now, how do I know that this is her attempt to do so? If I just read her bio on her OnlyFans, we can see that she is invoking the idea that there is some type of relationship or intimacy between her and her audience. Just read, does this mean we're e-dating now? If we read a little bit further in, we see, I really like trying to get to know you. she is trying to invoke this idea that she is open and ready, and that this is some relationship that's going to be formed between customer and provider, but more than just customer and provider, but two people who actually care about each other. That's the point. She has to be invoking this because that's what really gets fans. That's what really is the lifeblood of this type of industry. And granted, there are some people that just, are connoisseurs, so you would say, who give the money and then they leave. Of course they exist. Of course they're real. I would say that a huge chunk of that is the case, really. It's more connoisseurs then you really would have, you would say, simps, or you would have these thirsty men. But the fact remains that a lot of women invoke this desire. And so it's interesting to me that the woman, in order to have her career, must invoke the type of character that I was portraying. Now, here's the thing that's interesting still more to me. Not only must this woman invoke that character of being so thirsty, what's more important to me is the fact that it seems to have been stopped there, and all the people recognized was the thirst, but they didn't recognize what the rest of what I had to say was, and that was, it doesn't matter. And so that's why there's this strange two-step that I'm seeing here. It's you're gonna criticize me for being thirsty, but being thirsty is the very thing that makes your business what it is. You have to invoke that in these young males to obtain their money. But more importantly than that, it's the fact that I was actually commenting upon how it doesn't matter how attractive you are, I still can't date you. And so that's the next thing that kind of really bothers me greatly, is the fact that not only am I called an incel because I won't date a woman. Make that one make sense. You're an incel because you rejected a woman. You're an involuntary celibate because you chose to be celibate. Make that one make sense, okay? Right? But it's not just that. It's the fact that I honestly feel like men aren't allowed to reject women. Like, I'm not allowed to not want this woman. Even this woman here is clearly being salty. Like she's saying she's getting her legal team here because I showed images that she posted on the internet. Like, I didn't take any stolen material. It's all just stuff that she herself posted on Instagram that she posted as advertisement and on her Twitter. It's and then I took those images and I used it for criticism. So it's clearly fair use. That's just what happened. But again, it's interesting to me. If I were only but positive towards her, I know she wouldn't have gotten upset. And that's another thing that really kind of irks me about this type of stuff, is the fact that, like, I'm saying I don't want to date someone like you, okay, despite the fact that you're attractive. And it's not lost on me that, especially for young women, that can be quite the insult, like quite the bite. Because I'm saying that the strongest thing that you have is not enough for me. I can't accept it. Because I think your character is poor, and there should be more to it than that. And the reason why I think your character is poor is a friend of mine actually made a really good point about this the other day, where he said that it's clear she has the ability to fake intimacy for her own benefit, due to the fact that, again, she has her OnlyFans, and we've seen that she's trying to invoke the thirst in these young males. But that kind of concerns me, because it does draw into question how authentic any relationship with a woman like that can be, if we know she has the capacity to use intimacy not only to her own benefit, but to fake it and to pretend that she herself is also involved as well. So that's kind of why, if I could chat with Scooch in an authentic conversation, I would probably err on the side of, this probably isn't a relationship you should have. This probably isn't something you should do. Now I'm gonna read a comment that this one lady made, and we're gonna talk about that. Now our friend here says, something tells me you haven't really had much of an emotionally intimate and trusting relationship before. There's a lot someone can give you other than their body, but that's all you're focusing on this entire 17 minutes. Well, I'll pause to ask this question rather dryly. If that be the case, why is the only thing that this woman provides then her body? Why is this the focal point of her career choice then, if she has so much more to offer? I guess that's reserved specifically for her boyfriend, but I have to wonder if what would it then be? Like how could I even articulate or even begin to understand this? Like I'm not there. I guess I'd have to talk to them about it, which is be a fair point. But again, if there's so much more that this lady has to offer, why is it that her body is the one that puts on display and that's the focal point of her career? I I don't know. Um, I'd have to ask her. And I'll have you know, as someone who gets offers and has men paying me for stuff, I ain't gonna fly out anywhere for any client. I probably should ask her, why are you even accepting men paying you for anything? If you have a male to date, if you have someone in your life that you already care about, aren't you not undermining him directly by doing this? Because that's how I would feel. But here's another thing: is say you're not gonna fly out anywhere for any client. Sure, maybe you won't, but there are women who are. There are women of this caliber that do it all the time. There are women who cheat for less. It's and I don't want to date them, and you should accept that. I don't want to date people that clearly are able to break in and out of their relationships in such a manner, or who will accept money from other people. That just directly undermines my purpose and role in my relationship. To each their own, sure. Well, you don't believe that, evidently. But jealousy issues and insecurities are things you can work on, which will benefit you in the long haul. Now, again, this is just really colloquial, but people are incorrect. You can't be jealous of something you already possess. It's possessiveness. Now, she say my possessive issues and insecurities are things to work on, but I must ask again, why must I accept a relationship where a woman wants to take money from other men? She wants attention from other men. Why should I accept that? You tell me I should, I'm at why? I want an argument. I want to chew on the logical explanation as to why I should be okay in having these type of relationships, because I don't see the benefit for me. What should profit a man to gain the whole world but to lose his soul? Money, you getting money from other men that I know you're probably not going to spend on me, and even if you did spend on me, it just feels grimy, is not intimate to me, is not good to me. I don't like it. And that should be fine. You should be able to accept that I don't like it. It's quite sad that you spend all this time S-wording on someone else's life choices because you know you can't get it. And so I obviously was sure that the woman was referring to me having sex with her. And so my question was simple. I replied, serious question. Do you really think that I feel this way because I don't have sex with women? Because if you do, then I think you need to reevaluate how you view women and sex and not project it onto me. So she replies, I don't know if you read what I wrote correctly, but it wasn't at all mentioning the fact that you haven't had sex before. That doesn't matter. I was referring to things other than sex and relationships. It's your mind that keeps going there, dude. In the video and now, lol. But, I'm sorry, by get it, I mean a trusting, intimate relationship. Now, again, I have to criticize this rather harshly. You expect me to believe that a relationship of such caliber is both trusting and intimate as you pretend to like other people to obtain money from them? How am I supposed to trust that your intimacy with me is authentic when I know you now possess the capacity to pretend and lie to other people? I'm supposed to believe that I am the super special omega male, or I guess maybe not omega male, alpha male, maybe not alpha. I don't know. I don't know, dude. I don't even know what adjective to use here. I'm supposed to, and that's the thing. It is, and sure, you're right. It is certainly trusting, but it's a trust that just has absolutely no basis in reality. It's just pure, true, and genuine faith. I believe that I'm special, and that all these other guys may get a piece, but I'm the special one that gets everything. But here's the thing. It all comes back down to the validation machine that I constantly talk about. It's all just validation at the end of the day. It's not honor. It's not integrity. If you had honor and you had integrity, you wouldn't need to challenge someone in this manner as a young lady or as a young man to make it so that they have to sit here and believe that they're the super special one and you won't leave them even though you pretend to take other stuff from as you pretend to have relationships with other people. Like, that's why I don't want to deal, and I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to have a relationship like that. I get your general point of view. We all have insecurities that make us feel ways when someone else is looking at our partner. And again, like, she's more highlighting and focusing on my perceived insecurities rather than the integrity of what it is to be monogamous. And I guess, again, in my original video, I didn't really talk about the authenticity, the being monogamous, or the principal point of being in a committed relationship, and that's my error in that video. Again, it's more of a proto argument, or the basis of where I've come to how I am now, and the video is poor in that area. I accept that, but the thing is, it's the issues isn't so much the insecurities as much as it's the purpose behind what we're doing here. It's about the principle. The principle is, if I no longer try to obtain attention from other women, then I should get that same thing in return. We have traded in our options for other people to maintain our current relationship. That's the way that it should be. That's how I feel it should be. We don't need other people because we have each other now, right? And if we fail in one area, we can try to work it out, or we can try to compromise, and we'll do it. We'll face that battle when it comes. But it shouldn't be that I have to accept that you're going to ask other men for money. It shouldn't be that I have to accept that you're going to ask other men for attention. It should honestly be that you should analyze, why do you want money and attention from other men? And why are you trying to keep me here and hold me here and tell me that I shouldn't feel this way, or I need to work on myself? That is so hilariously arrogant that I can't even believe that you have these ideas or these notions. She goes on to say, I just think you should realize that she's not putting all into her subscribers or people she earns from, not nearly the same what their partner gets from her. Sure, I believe that to a certain extent. Either way it goes, it's still fake and it's still manipulation. And again, an individual who has integrity would not want to be in a business of such caliber, where you have to take the weakest of minds of people, or people who are hurting, or people who are in pain and lonely, and extract their resources. Just matter of factly, if you have integrity, you cannot see this type of weakness in men and then profit off of it and then say that you're a good person or you've done something for society. You haven't. You've just taken. And I can't accept that. I can't. I don't want to date a woman like that. And that should be okay. It should be okay that I don't want to date a woman of that caliber. Again, if you think that it's okay to not date people who are too short, who don't make enough money, who are too ugly, who are too corny, who are XYZ, then I should be able to say, listen, fam, you want to do OnlyFans? That's your prerogative. I'm not going to commit to you. I'll look at you, sure. And if I was a less honorable man, would I hit and quit? Sure. But I'm not going to commit. I can't do it. I know you have the capacity to pretend. I know you don't care about men. I know you use men like tools. I can see it. What would make me different? I have to believe that I am totally different. And you're not lying to me. You're not manipulating me. I have to believe that. And so you'd have to, I guess there's a lot here that really shows that you're not of this caliber, but I can't see it just based off of the pictures. And I think that's about it. I don't really think I need to comment anymore on this particular comment, but in conclusion, I just don't really think that this is a relationship that I should want to have, and I don't really think that these comments really exist in any manner to really show me that I should want it, but more to punish me for rejecting a woman, which is kind of funny to me that, she's in a relationship and anyone would be upset at me for rejecting her, for not wanting to be with her. Like, truth of the matter is, we should just say, I don't want to date you, and then you should say, well, I don't want to date you either. And then we walk past each other, we just, we let bygones be bygones. But this is just not something I want. And I think it should be okay for me to not want it. I think it should be fair for me to not want to be with a cosplayer that sells pictures of herself. If you think it's okay to not be with someone because they're too short, or they're too ugly, they don't make enough money, they're not funny, they have a boring personality. If you think it's okay to reject people for that, then I should be able to look at your life choices, your career choice, and say, I don't want that. I feel like it steps in between our ability to be intimate. I don't like you pretending to like other dudes on the internet. I don't like you pretending. And that's just my honor. I'm just honor bound. I see other people in pain, and I don't like the manipulation. So I would say this, Reb individual, whose image I used. If you want to have a conversation about this, man, by all means, it would be interesting and it'd be fun to actually talk. But if not, then I honestly will leave you with this. I think it should be okay that I don't want to date you. I do. And if you want to talk about that, then by all means, we'll chat, and I think it'll be interesting. So, with that being said, I certainly hope you guys got something out of today's video, and if you did, man, go and click the like button. And shoot, go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.